So let's start. So this lecture is entitled The Use of Low Temperatures. So in this lecture, we'll mainly talk about chilling, about freezing, but we will talk as well about a type of using of low temperature called cellar storage. So it is a low chilling technique, but yeah.
دانيا ما عم يثبت الكونكشن عندها.
دانيا؟
Yes.
مش الحال دانيا؟ It's working? done. Okay, perfect. So, okay, great, Danya. So in this lecture, we have many learning objectives to be fulfilled. We'll start by defining the objectives of using low temperature. We'll determine the temperature ranges for low temperature. So we have mainly three temperatures ranges that we are going to talk about. We have what is called cellar storage. Cellar storage. We have refrigeration or chilling, and we have the freezing. So in all way, how come the low temperature is controlling? It's controlling by slowing down the activity of microorganisms. But we need to know that it does not only slow down the activity of microorganisms, it slows as well the activity of enzymes. So chilling will slow the activity of enzymes, and some microorganisms require enzyme to proliferate. Okay, so this is how their activity will be also slowed down. So the activity of microorganisms will be slowed down during chilling and will be fully stopped at freezing temperature. So the reason is that the metabolic reaction of microorganisms require enzymes, and the activity of the enzyme will be also slowed down at low temperature. So with a rise of temperature, definitely there is an increase in the reaction rate. Okay, so what are the objectives of using low temperature? First of all, we are reducing the activity of the enzymes, knowing that some enzymes can continue to operate below 0 degree. So if you remember, when we talked about low temperature, in the fridge, we slow down the activity of the enzyme and the bacteria, but in the freezer, we completely stop the activity of the bacteria, but the enzyme can still remain active, and that's why we do blanching. So هيدا الشيء اللي مكتوب هون انه عم بيقولوا انه some enzymes will continue to operate below 0. For this reason, the vegetables should be blanched before being frozen. So the second objective of using low temperature is to preventing the catalytic activity of microbial enzymes. So مثل ما قلت لكم انه some microbes require enzyme to proliferate. So the chilling will reduce the activity of the microbial enzymes, and this definitely will interfere with their possibility or activity to proliferate. It will prevent or reduce the growth of microorganisms, and definitely it will reduce the germination of spores, because as you remember, the spores require a high temperature to germinate. So if I'm reducing the low temperature, the germination of spores will be reduced. So now passing to the temperature ranges, I will start with what is called cellar storage. So cellar storage, it's a low temperature storage. It's a cool room between the refrigeration and the ambient temperature. So كنا بنعرف إنه refrigeration is 1 to 4, 1 to 5, وبالبيت 1 to 10. والambient temperature هي 20. So cellar storage, it's a cool room at a temperature 15 to 20. So برأيكم, what is the advantage of having this room from any manufacturing point of view? Why it's important to have a room called cellar room 15 to 20? Hello?
منشان إذا كانت الحرارة كافية ما يطلز الأكل، يعني نضلنا محافظين على الأكل
ما نحن عم نحكي 1 to 4. مثلا برأيك الأبل أو البطاطا، مثلا البطاطا potatoes، ضروري نحن نحط مثلا إذا أنا معمل بيستعمل بطاطا مثلا مثل ماستر potato chips. Do I really need to store the potato in a room from 1 to 4? أنتوا البطاطا بالبيت وين بتحطوها؟ بتحطوها بالبراد؟
لا.
اوكي، بس اذا نحن حطيناها برات البراد وكانت الحراره عاليه، هيدا الشيء بيساعد انها تعمل sprouting، انها تفرخ، وبيساعد انه تعمل bacterial proliferation. So I need to have a room with a temperature between 15 to 20 that will control the potato. And the advantage of this room is that energy-wise, it's not that much costly because I don't have to cool to a temperature of 1 to 4. يعني هون عم برد بس ما عم برد لحرارة كتير واطية، so ما بدفع كتير بصير على التبريد. اوكي هلا humidity is controlled. Why? Because it's very important to control the humidity. One, for the spoilage, because at a high humidity the product can be spoiled, and two, to prevent losses. Okay, so هون عم بيقولوا لنا انه too low humidity will result of losses of moisture from the stored food. سؤال: why a very low humidity will result in losing moisture from the food? بدل الكل يجاوب، عم شوف في صبايا منهم active. يلا. Why a low humidity will result in losing moisture from the food?
لأنه ما بيكون في رطوبة فما حيكون فيها المي.
يلا مروة، حنان، آية، أمان. Why low humidity will result in losing water from the food? Okay, by diffusion. Why? رؤى, I can't hear you. شلت رؤى؟ يلا وينكم؟ ما عم شوف إلا دانيا تايبينج. صبايا. So why low humidity can result in losing moisture? Because if we have a low humidity, the product tends to regulate the water content. So in this case, the product will lose water in order to regulate the water content inside the food and outside. Yani if the humidity is low, so the product tends to lose water in order to regulate the humidity outside the food. عرفنا ليه؟ Exactly, the water will leave the place containing more water to the place containing less water, okay? So, and too high humidity will favor the spoilage of the food by microorganisms, okay? So that's why cellar storage is appropriate for fruits, for vegetables, and for potatoes, okay? Okay?
Okay.
So now I'll pass to chilling. So chilling is also a refrigerating method where the temperature is between 1 to 4. So at this temperature, we all know that the growth of microbes and the enzymatic activity will be slowed down, but will not be stopped. Okay, so refrigerated product, they do have limited shelf life because we need to know that even in the chiller, the bacteria can still proliferate, but at a very slow rate. So as you can see in this slide, even at very low initial microbial population, the bacteria can still proliferate, but the product, for a long period of time, it will reduce its safety. يعني إذا عم نحكي the milk, you can keep it in the fridge open 3 days. لأنه more than 3 days, automatically the product will start to be contaminated. Okay? So most perishable food, including eggs, meat, dairy products, seafood, they can be held in chilled storage for a limited time with little change of their condition. Okay, so what about the freezing? So now passing to the freezing. In the freezing, the liquid will be converted to solid ice. So as long as the water is now solid, so it's not available anymore for the bacteria, and this will limitate the rate of bacterial growth, okay? So on thawing, it will become active again as if we did not control the product. So if you have any kind of fluctuation in the freezer, this will affect negatively your product. So freezing is the maintenance of the temperature at a value below -18. So -18 is usually in the big storage room, but at home it is -10. So here you can see that under normal circumstances, the growth and the activity will be stopped. Why? Number one, because the free water will form ice crystals. Number two, because the cells will be dehydrated, they will lose their water. And we are lowering the water activity. And by lowering the water activity, you know that some ions are soluble in water. So when you lose the water activity, you will lose with the water some ions inside the cell, and this will lower the pH, right? Okay, so this will also destabilize the functional macromolecule in the microbial cells. So is it clear? Am I going fast?
Clear.
Okay, Yasmina wants to say hi. Come, say hi. She wants to say hi. Say hi, Yasmina. Okay, okay. So when I say, is it clear? She keeps saying what? It's clear, right? Is it clear, Yasmina? Yeah, it's clear. Okay, perfect. Okay.
أي ساعة بكرة أفلام
With the students, okay. So the microbial cells subjected to freezing, they suffer sublethal as well as lethal injury. So some of them, they can be destroyed and some others not really. So freezing is one of the most successful means for preserving the food with very tiny change on the flavor and very tiny losses of nutritional values. So freezing has also disadvantages in destroying certain parasites such as Trichinella and Taenia. So now passing to the freezing, we need to know that for some types of food, if you are willing to freeze them for a long period of time, you need to blanch them. So what is blanching? Blanching is very important to slow the activity of the enzyme, where you submerge the product for a short period of time at a boiling temperature. But blanching also presents some other advantages. So number one, it will inactivate the enzyme. Number two, it will fix the green color of the vegetables. Okay, so ما بعرف إذا بتلاحظوا إنه البرودكت اللي بيكون بالفريزر صار له فترة بيكون لونه different than the fresh product. Fresh product بيكون greeny light, هذيك بيكون darker color. It will reduce the number of microorganisms. Okay, because it's a boiling بالنهاية. Blanching, it's a boiling but for a short period of time. So it can remove 90% of the bacteria. It will facilitate packing of the leafy vegetables. Why? لأنه بصير the product much more soft لما يكون مسلوق, so the packing will be easier, and it will ensure a displacement of entrapped air in the plant tissues. So blanching is achieved by a brief immersion of the food into hot water or by using the steam. So what we do is that we keep the product 2 to 5 minutes at a temperature of 100. So راح تقولوا لي إنه is it enough to completely remove the bacteria? No, but it will reduce the load. And the main إذا بدكم the main objective of blanching is mainly to inactivate enzyme so that we can maintain the product in the freezer for a long period of time. So method of freezing, we have many factors affecting the freezing. We have the method employed, we have the temperature, the circulation of air, the size and the shape of the packages, and the kind of the food. And in the freezing, we have mainly two methods. We have what is called the slow freezing that we use at home. It takes 3 to 72 hours. And we have the quick freezing, which is really quick. It takes around 30 minutes. So the main difference is with respect to the size of the ice crystal. So as you can see, this is the slow freezing, and this is the rapid freezing, the quick freezing. So where the ice crystal is bigger, in the slow freezing or quick freezing? So I will start a poll. So A, B, where the icy crystal is bigger. A, slow freezing, B, quick freezing. Okay, so all of you answered A, except Razan Ghzayel, she answered B. So no, Razan, A is correct. So as you can see, in the slow freezing, so it is slow, so it's taking time. So the icy crystal will get bigger and bigger and bigger. As you can see here, the icy crystal is big, and since it's big, it will disrupt the cells. However, in the quick freezing, the icy crystals are very tiny and small, and they will remain embedded inside the cell. The main advantage of this is to maintain the shape of the product. So in the slow freezing, the shape of the product will be disturbed, but in this quick freezing, it will be maintained. Okay? So the principles involved in the freezing, so fruits and vegetables are made up of many cells. These can be damaged by the icy crystals if they are too large. So this is the normal cell wall. And this is, as you can see in the ice crystal, if it's very big, it will rupture the cell and will change the shape of the product. So all what you see in the supermarkets, مثلا nuggets, chicken crispy, كل هالأشياء هي بتكون quick freezing مش slow freezing. But once it's thawed or defrosted, يعني لما ندوبهم, again the cells, so the structure will be collapsed, releasing the liquid because the cell no longer form the framework of the food. But large icy crystals, okay, are formed in food if it's frozen too slowly, resulting in a poor texture once thawed. So definitely, if you have the option between quick freezing and slow freezing, you should go for the option of quick freezing because it will maintain the shape of the product. In a short period of time, you will preserve better the product, but one of the disadvantages is the high cost. So if the food is quick freezing, as you can see, they are very tiny, very small. The temperature is between 0 to -4, and within 30 minutes, you can reach the right temperature in the center of the product. So slow freezing, usually it refers to freezing in air with only natural air circulation by electrical fans. يعني مثل عنا بالبراد العادي. So electrical fans at a temperature of -23, it may vary between -15 to -29. So freezing takes 3 to 72 hours. You can notice this, it requires time to freeze. Slow cooling permits the flow of the water from the cells to the outside, and this will promote extracellular ice formation instead of lethal intracellular freezing. Why? Because the ice crystal is big, so it will go outside the cell. But it can be used for strawberry, for example. But you notice if you buy strawberry slow freeze, رح تلاقون كلهم collapsed ملعلقين على بعض, منهم maintaining their shape. So that's why even for strawberry, هلا they tend to use what is called IQF, individual quick freezing, where they freeze every single strawberry alone so it can maintain its shape. وهيك إذا بدنا نستعمل strawberry الفروزن بمربى أو بحيلا أو بالجلي, it will maintain its shape. ليه؟ لأنه بعد الشيب هو ذاته من quick freezing منها slowed و deformed. Okay, so quick freezing is very good to increase the shelf life of the perishable product by subjecting to conditions low enough to inhibit the oxidative, enzymatic, and microbial changes. اللي هن responsible for the changes and in flavor and color. Okay, so food is frozen in short time within 30 minutes مثل ما قلت قبل. At a time مثلا مرات ممكن ياخد even 12 minutes. It depends on the temperature of the freezing. We create small ice crystal and less damage, and it will retain its texture also. Okay. So in the next slide, we'll talk about the methods of commercial freezing. The أول method اسمها direct immersion. يعني نحن we have a special types of liquid okay, for immersion for freezing. مثلا في عندنا nitrogen liquid present a temperature of -196. So if we submerge fish in this brine of nitrogen liquid, so بنسميها direct immersion of the food into the refrigerant بنقله. So as if freezing of fish in brine. فينا نستعمل calcium chloride, okay, في عندنا glucose. So we have different types of refrigerants بيناتهم النيتروجين liquid والcalcium chloride, where we can just submerge the product to freeze it. تاني طريقة بنسميها indirect contact with the refrigerant. بيكون عندنا multi-plate freezer. So in one plate we flow the refrigerant, and the other plate the food, refrigerant the food, and by indirect contact we can refrigerate the food. It's rapidly frozen to -18 ل -45 degree. واخر وحده it's typically by applying cold air. يعني في عنا 3 methods. اول وحده we directly submerge in the refrigerant. Second, in plates, so plates or tubes بنمرق فيهم يا البرودكت يا refrigerant, and by contact, indirect contact, we freeze. وثالث وحده by very cold air at a temperature -18 to -35. So here we say that liquid nitrogen is called the cryogenic freezing. So it's a cryogenic product. كل شيء cryogenic يعني very low temperature. It's mainly used for strawberries which do not freeze well while using conventional quick freezing. Liquid nitrogen, it's extremely cold, -196, and food, we can place them, or we can even spray them with liquid nitrogen and they will be frozen immediately. So I don't know why it takes time to pass from one slide to another. Okay. Okay, so here comes the different methods, as I mentioned. Immersion freezing. So it's a traditional types of freezing, which we submerge the food in salt and ice. Okay. يمكن بعد في عالم بيعملوها بتشوفون. So بحطوا السمك بقلب box فيه ثلج وملح. So it takes several hours. So it's a slow type of freezing, but it's being used. So now they use more advanced technique. So instead of submerging into ice and salt, they are submerging into refrigerant such as liquid nitrogen, as I mentioned before. Okay. Okay, so slide 23, the plate freezing that I was talking about. So here you can see we have the packed food here, okay? And here in this plate, we have the refrigerant. So this is called indirect freezing. So one plate, هيدا the plate in white فيها refrigerant اللي هو سواء يكون liquid nitrogen or calcium chloride. And here, هول squares, هيدا the food. So by indirect contact, we can freeze the product. So the plate can be horizontal or vertical. It depends on the product. You can customize it. And the system is ideal for freezing large blocks of products, okay? But it's not typically used for irregular shaped items. لأنه إذا irregular, they cannot fit in these squares تنال إذا كانوا irregular shaped, okay? Tabaya, am I going fast or everything is clear?
Everything is clear.
Okay, so here we have also a method called the blast freezing. So blast freezing is a quick freezing. As you can see, we have the batches of the food. So here is the food. شفتون هو small particles, the circles, هون is the food, okay? And here we have fans where we are flowing air at a very low temperature, almost -40. Okay, we flow the air, and the product on the shelves will be automatically frozen. And here it can be applied even if the shapes are irregular. يعني هون عم نشوف مثل fish nuggets, okay? So even if the shape is irregular, no problem, because عنا fans, so في عنا a very cold air that will freeze the product. So fluidized bed freezing, so vertical jets of refrigerated air is blown. So here it's a fan, but here it's a fan with circulation. So it's like the concept of drying. Here it's an air circulating all the time. We have the conveyor where we have the product and we have a fluidized bed. Fluidized bed يعني بيكون كل الوقت البرودكت عم يحرق, okay? It's being flowing with the product. It's very used for the beans. يعني البازيلا لما بدنا نجمدها هيك بنحط البينز او البيز هون, الجرين بيز, البازيلا او البينز. So in this compartment we flow down by using electrical fans. It takes around 10 minutes. It's a continuous process, so the cold air will circulate and the product will be frozen. Can be used also for prawns, للشrimps يعني فينا كمان نستعملها. Okay, scratch heat exchanger, it's typically used for ice cream. So using this method is very good for ice cream. It reduces large ice crystal formation and promoting the usage of a smooth product. So here the viscous product, as you can see, okay, and here it's the cool surface, okay, and from this cool surface we have rotary scrapers. It rotates all the time. So this is cold, and we also flush cold air all the time in order to freeze the product. Cryogenic freezing, so this is also a perfect system. This system, we have liquid nitrogen or even carbon dioxide. So liquid nitrogen has a temperature of -196, carbon dioxide -78. So the freezing is almost instant. The nitrogen gas can be removed by the fans, okay? So here, this is the product N, okay? So we start by pre-cooling, يعني يحوي البرودكت هون. This is the conveyor belt عم يمشي البرودكت عليه. عم نشوف الناس تعملوا للشمس by the way. So ببلشوا الفانز يعملوا pre-cooling. They flow cold air to pre-cool the product, and then the product will reach a certain part where we start flushing liquid nitrogen at -196. We can even flush carbon dioxide, it depends. The product is out here, but and it will be frozen. عم بيقولوا لنا انه the system can use even carbon dioxide or nitrogen liquid. Carbon dioxide is more economical and it can be recycled. So if you recycle the gas, it's good, because if you recycle, you can reuse it. But liquid nitrogen, you use it once and it's very expensive. So again, the product is in. It's pre-cooled with fans with low temperature, and then we apply liquid nitrogen or CO2 to freeze the product. So what is the advantage of freezing? Advantage that many foods can be frozen. So it's typically applied for a big range of product. The color, the flavor, and also the nutritive value can be very well preserved and retained. The texture, it's good, okay. The food can be frozen in less time that can be dried, so it's fast, especially if it's quick freezing. The procedure is very simple, it's convenient, and the proportion can be adapted, and the kitchen remains cool and comfortable. It's very simple to freeze our products. So the advantage of quick freezing over the slow freezing. So number one, the quick freezing will form small ice crystals. Definitely this presents an advantage with respect to less mechanical destruction of intact cells. The time is shorter, and definitely this is very good. And since the time is very short, this will lead to a prompt prevention of microbial growth. We have a better rapid slowing of enzymatic action. So نحن أنه بالfreezing, the enzymes will still be active, but with quick freezing, they will be much more better inhibited than in the slow freezing. And the taste, the color, and the appearance will be much more better. Than quick freezing is better than slow freezing. So here again, example. So this is a product after slow freezing. So it's kind of shrinked, and here it's maintained its shape. So what are the disadvantages of freezing? First of all, freezing does not destroy pathogens after a long storage. So freezing is not bactericidal, it's bacteriostatic. We are freezing the bacterial proliferation, but the load is the same. So once I will defrost or I will thaw the product, I will have the same load of bacteria. And we need to know that some bacteria are resistant to low temperature, بنسميهم cryogenic bacteria, so they can survive at very low temperature. For example, we have the Clostridium, they are resistant to cold, and even the Salmonella. So the texture of some food is undesirable because of freezing. The investment, sometimes it could be very high, and even it requires, if we have big freezer, it requires capacity to have this space. With respect to the nutrients, we have some little changes in nutrients, but sometimes we have faced some losses in vitamins A, B1, B2, and C. Sometimes we have faced as well oxidative deterioration in some fats and oils. Sometimes we have faced some proteolysis because the enzymes are not inactivated. So if the enzymes are still there and we have proteolytic enzymes, so this will cause the deterioration of proteins. Okay, so إذا ما عملنا blanching والenzymes بعدهم موجودين ممكن يعملوا proteolysis. And sometimes also we have faced what is called freezer burn. بما انه بنعرف انه الهاي temperature مثل low temperature فيها تحرق البرودكت، so البرودكت ببين حرق. The freezer burn is not a safety issue, it's a quality issue. So إذا عنا a part of the product burned from freezing, we can simply trim it and we can consume the product. So إذا ما كانوا very well wrapped during freezing, we can undergo what is called the freezer burn. اللي هو it's a browning of light colored food. The condition is irreversible. يعني if the product is burned due to freezing, we cannot remove the burning. And freezer burn does not make the food unsafe. The food, مثل ما قلت لكم, is still safe. It's a quality issue. Just cut the freezer burn part and you can consume the product. Color changes. We all know that the bright color of the meat will turn into brown, dark color. The same for peas, the same for the product due to the long storage time. So food that do not freeze well, we have here a list of food that do not freeze very well, like the milk sauce, the sour cream, the egg white. So egg white, definitely it's better to go to drying rather than freezing. So thawing food for serving, so to thaw the fruit, definitely it's better to thaw them in the refrigerator a day before. So we can also defrost by exposing to cool water, but we have to consume the fruit directly because submerging in cold water will automatically increase the moisture content, and this will allow more proliferation of bacteria. So if I tell you which method is best, okay, I will start a poll. Which method is best to defrost the food? Okay. A, chilling a day before, and B, just a moment, I will start the poll. Okay. So which method is the best to defrost the fruit? A, chilling a day before. B, at room temperature in cool water. So what is the best method to defrost the fruit? A, in the refrigerator a day before, and B, at room temperature in cool water. Okay, so it's A. It's all the time. The ideal method to defrost is again chicken, fruit, whatever is the product. The ideal method to defrost is to chill a day before. So to defrost a day before in the chiller. Okay. So here we can see the vegetable storage, the different temperature with a length of storage. So as you can see, the more the temperature is lower, automatically the length of storage is also shorter in period of time. So freezer emergencies, whether we are talking about freezers or chillers, it's very important to know that we need to maintain the temperature, we need to control it. We cannot open the door all the time because this will affect the temperature of freezer and chillers. We should equip the freezers and the chillers with alarm to make sure that the temperature is not fluctuating because this will affect the safety of the product. So if power interruption will be longer than 1 or 2 days, you can use dry ice on board. So dry ice is a type of ice that will also freeze the product instantly. So refreezing thawed food is not good. So we cannot refreeze thawed food. So if you have a big portion, so you can just يعني إذا عنا كيلو دجاج، أوكي عنا كيلو سفين دجاج، أوكي من الأساس لما نشتريهم نحطوا نص كيلو كل نص كيلو لحال. So when we defrost only the half kilo because we cannot defrost and then freeze and then defrost and then freeze because every single time we are defrosting, we are releasing water. And we are, with the water, we are proliferating more the bacteria, and then we are freezing again the bacteria, so the load of bacteria will increase. So refreezing is not good, okay? It should be avoided. So freeze foods quickly. Best advice for freezing is to set the freezing temperature at -23, 24 hours before freezing. So مش يكون الفريزر مطفي ونحن نحط فيه أشياء وندوره سوا لأنه هيدا it's taking time. Okay, who will product the danger zone? So you freeze your freezer, you make sure that the freezing temperature is correct, and then you put in the product to freeze. So hold the product at -18 or colder to achieve the best quality. So freezing, different methods of commercial freezing are available. So in order to achieve two principles, first of all, very low temperature to inhibit microorganisms and enzymatic activity. And number two, the formation of ice crystal to avoid having a big quantity of water. So to make the water less accessible. So benefits of rapid freezing, small crystals, and definitely by far it's better than slow freezing. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, girls. بعرف إنه طولنا اليوم عملنا 3 hours. Hope to see you next Wednesday. Hope to see you live in class. بس إذا قدرنا نعمل face-to-face contact, I think إنه that's option. The big blue button is a good option to communicate. So do you have any question? Do you have any question, girls?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.